Hello and welcome back to Season 5, Episode 4 of Sports Talk. We are changing things up a bit, so get ready to see some new segments later in the show.
That's right, Tom. Make sure you stay tuned for the fun new segments we have coming up later in the show because you'll definitely get a laugh. Aside from our new segments, we are also in the midst of the winter sports season for all sports teams.
That's right, Lily. We mentioned last episode that the girls basketball team started their season off on a good note. The boys team, they struggled to the start of the season. Their season is looking up the past few games.
You can check out the B&B Game of the Week where the Mepham girls team faced off against New Hyde Park.
One of the new segments that we are stoked to add here on Sports Talk is Mic'd Up. Now you get an inside look on what it really goes on between athletes on the court and an exclusive laugh on all of their side chatter and bickering.
Splash!
Travel, idiot.
I didn't travel.
You just said you traveled.
Can you hear me? International love. Oh, international love. Down like New York City. In every city. Why like awesome pretty. And now you see.
Yo, why does it smell like tuna fish in here?
Right here, bro.
Yeah.
Bank.
I'm going bank on a free throw. It's
Free throw this whole time.
Good day. You're not that guy, pal.
Oh, my fault. My bad. I'm so sorry. Oh, coming in. Mid-range. KD.
I know. Bro, we could have we could have a full breakfast before the game Saturday or after. You better move.
Yeah.
It's light work.
Wow, I just got slippery shoes, that's all.
Alright,
I'm trying.
Scratch $1 million off my checklist 3 years ago. 2 zeros to my 1, I'm in a different mode. Do with my life, I do what I want, I deal with different.
As soon as he lets us go.
That's a foul, Kevin. No, they don't want you. They don't want you. They don't need him. They don't need him.
Jerry is probably like one of the greatest shooters I've ever seen in my life, but like the weirdest shooting form. Like the kid shoots behind his head, but it goes in. So I mean, alright.
So f***ing sad, bro. Yo, someone blew.
Pull up 3, first possession. Don't tell coach.
That's your name, man.
Jerry's not going to respect the range.
I really liked hearing the side comments coming from the boys, and I'm so excited that we get to see the inside fun of different athletes from every month throughout the spring sports season.
Yeah, exactly. You get to see, the players enjoying themselves, being goofy, and having a good time, Lily.
There wasn't only one new addition to the show, but there was 2. Tyler Steinberg hosts This Month in Mepham Sports.
Thanks, Lily. Welcome to our first ever segment of Month in Mepham Sports, where we talk about what is going on in and around the sports world in Mepham. So with that being said, let's get right into it. The boys basketball team had a rough month of January, where they went 1-6, getting their 1 win this month against Jericho, as the final score was 56-51, as they look to turn the page going into the last month of the season. The boys basketball team had a rough month of January, where they went 2-5, getting their 2 wins against Jericho and New Hyde Park. They will look to turn the page heading into the last month of the season. Now, let's talk a little about the girls basketball team, as they had an amazing month of January, where they went 6-1, including an impressive 5-game winning streak heading into the last month of the season, as they look to keep their playoff hopes alive. Now, let's talk a little about the girls basketball team, as they had an amazing month of January, where they went 5-2, including an impressive 4-game winning streak, before losing to New Hyde Park heading into the last month of the season, as they look to keep their playoff hopes alive. Now, looking at what the Bellmore Sharks have accomplished throughout the month, we had 2 swimmers who made counties, both the 100 backstroke and the 100 freestyle. Congrats to Max Hahn and David Angelo, as well as Amazane Alchichi, making counties for the 100 butterfly and 100 backstroke. Moving on from the pool to the ice, where the Bellmore-Merrick Bulldogs went 6-0 throughout the month of January, and have been a perfect 14-0 going into the last month of the regular season. Now, we move to the mats. The wrestlers have had 4 dual meets in the month of January, going 4-1. Their wins came against Great Neck North, Great Neck South, Herricks, and Bethpage, and their 1 loss coming to Hewlett. And last but not least, the track team had 2 invitationals throughout the month of January, including the Hispanic Games and the New Balance Games. They also had conference championships, where the boys got 5th place and the girls got 2nd place. And I know it's sad, but that's all for your boy. For B&B, I'm Tyler Steinberg, and now back to Tom and Lily in the studio.
Thanks, Tyler. What a month it has been in Mepham sports, going back all the way to the winter break and seeing how these Mepham teams have been able to find themselves as a team.
Yes, indeed. And as always, I'm looking forward to the playoffs for the girls and hope that they go far. But we also have the SCN competition coming right around the corner, which is only less than a month away.
That's right, Lily. Less than a month away, we will be competing nationally for awards, and hopefully we will bring some back here to Mepham, just like we did last year.
Before we toss it to Manno, Tom, you sat down with MLB Detroit Lions pitcher. Tom, take it away.
Hello and welcome to this month's The View. Today I'm joined by former Mepham graduate and now MLB pitcher for the Detroit Tigers, Jason Foley. Jason, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
No problem, our pleasure. So Jason, to start off, you're a 2013 Mepham graduate. After that, you were set to play ball at Sacred Heart. And, how was Mepham after that? And what were your expectations going into Sacred Heart?
Yeah, I was pretty excited to play, to get a chance to play D1 baseball. It was, I didn't get recruited by a ton of schools, nonetheless, a ton of D1 schools at that matter. So, I was just pretty pumped for that opportunity. And yeah, just excited. I didn't really know what to expect. I didn't really know anyone above me that played. Like my brother didn't play any sports after school, so I didn't really know what to expect. But lived up to the expectation. I had a great time there. Met some of my best friends and had a great time playing. So all worked out.
Absolutely. So you played at Sacred Heart and you got to play in the Collegiate Summer League and that being in the Cape Cod League. What was that like, being able to play in the Cape Cod League, one of the biggest, college level, leagues that there is?
Yeah, the Cape was pretty sweet. I only got to play there for a couple of weeks, unfortunately. I didn't get to spend a whole summer there like a lot of other guys, but that was the first time, because coming from Sacred Heart, we didn't really have, we weren't like Vanderbilt or Florida or like any of these big schools that get a ton of fans and get a ton of like recognition from, the school and whatnot. So we never really had a big following at Sacred Heart. So going to the Cape was really cool because that was the first time in my life where like as a player, like the local people from, I was in Chatham. So the local people from Chatham and all around the Cape are such big fans of the players and they show so much support at the games. So that was like a super cool experience because like I said, I mean, at most of my college games, it was like parents, girlfriends, girlfriends, whatever, family.
Yeah.
So, couple hundred people tops. So going to these games was awesome. They would get sometimes a couple thousand people every game and there'd be a lot of following around for the team and a lot of like rah around the team. So it was an awesome experience and you got to feel like, pretty like almost like a little bit of celebrity.
Cool. Yeah, you're comfortable in a way.
Yeah. It was awesome.
So after your junior season, you left Sacred Heart and you went undrafted in the MLB, before ultimately, getting signed by the Tigers organization. What was that initial feeling like, going undrafted and then, here comes the Detroit Tigers, they signed you. What was that feeling like?
Yeah, it was, it was obviously a little tough. Obviously going into that junior season, I had heard a lot of murmurings from scouts and whatnot saying, like we might draft you. We've had an eye on you. You impressed us in summer ball. Like we're going to be following you, yada, yada, yada. So to not really perform my best and not get drafted was obviously, it was pretty tough, like mentally, especially like one of my best friends from college, he got drafted that same year as well. So it was kind of like, kind of just a tough experience, but you gotta just roll the punches and say, it didn't work out for me now, but I was like another year, my senior year, to go back and get drafted. Thankfully, I got the opportunity in summer ball. I kept pitching well and ended up getting signed. But you got to kind of just, again, roll the punches and be like, hey, I mean, it didn't work out for me now, but it could work out down the road.
In the long run, it helps you.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So you then went on to play 4 seasons in the minors with the Tigers organization. You also in that time span dealt with a huge injury of Tommy John surgery, and that's big. I could say myself, I actually play baseball. I'm a pitcher for Mepham right now. And I know what that's like, and how baseball players go with that. And that's it's a big injury. It's a career-ending injury for some people. And how are you mentally and physically able to overcome this and be the third pioneer of Sacred Heart to make it to the big leagues?
Yeah, good question. So for most people who are probably going to see this, I mean, they probably know of Tommy John, or if you're a baseball fan, it's obviously an elbow injury, and most people
Yeah.
probably think it's it is obviously a physical injury, but it's probably more of a mental grind than anything. I was having a pretty good season in 2017, and unfortunately towards the end, like you said, I needed Tommy John surgery on my elbow, and I missed the entirety of 2018, and you just kind of baseball is kind of one of those, or sports are one of those businesses where it's kind of a, what have you done for me lately? And like I'd been pitching well, I'd been getting a lot of publicity from like the scouting department, from the team. Like I was on like a prospect list, and it feels good. I was pitching well, I earned it, and then like you kind of just fall off the face of the earth. And that whole next year in 2018, like I'm kind of just sitting on a training table every day. I'm not part of a team. I'm not really interacting with like my buddies, my teammates as much as I would normally have been. So it's kind of a mental battle. You got to just kind of tell yourself like, all right, each and every day it's pretty monotonous. Like you're doing kind of the same old stuff, but like if you work hard each and every day and you do the stuff you need to do, like hopefully you'll get back to where you were, and you'll be back pitching and back on that road back to the big leagues. So again, like it was a physical battle, but more so it's more of a mental thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And you came back 2 years later, and then on June 6th, 2021, the Tigers selected your contract, promoted you to the majors. And for the first time, what's that feeling like now, looking back at everything and seeing how far you come from being a senior at Mepham High School, and now, just about 9 years later, you're pitching in the big leagues?
Yeah, I mean, that's an awesome question. I mean, it's something I should probably dawn on and reflect on a little more, but now that you say that, it's like, yeah, it's pretty wild. I mean, I can remember the days when I was in your shoes pitching at Mepham, and playing Kennedy, Calhoun, all these teams, and yeah, it's crazy to think of how far I come, just how much dedication and hard work it takes to get there. But I'd also think it's a good point to bring up that like it's possible. It makes it like I know Mepham is like kind of a smaller school. We never were the biggest powerhouse amongst sports, but like it shows that like anything's possible if you keep working hard and putting your mind to it. So you're right. It is nuts to think back that far and see how far I've come. But yeah, it's pretty special. So it's awesome.
Yeah. And one last thing to close off the show. I could be wrong, but were you in your major league debut, or it might not have been the debut, it might have been one of the games, did you actually pitch to Nelson Cruz?
Yeah, that was in Tampa. It wasn't my debut, but it was probably my 5th or 6th, 7th outing maybe.
Yeah, well, no, yeah, we were question about that. So did you actually grow up watching Nelson Cruz or no?
Yeah, I mean,
that was my question. What is it like growing up just watching him, and then 10 years later, 10 years before this, he's probably around 40, you're growing up watching him, and then 10 years later you're on the big mounds pitching to him.
Yeah, it's nuts. I mean, he was probably the most like notable best hitter I faced.
Yeah.
I mean, not taking away anything from anyone else, but yeah, growing up, like we were watching. I mean, growing up, he was one of the best hitters in the league. I mean, he's underrated. The numbers he's put up is insane.
Yeah.
But yeah, to face him is pretty nuts. Like he just has a crazy presence in the box. He's just a big dude. Like you just know he's Nelson Cruz. You know what he's capable of. So
yeah,
it kind of he just brings this presence to the batter's box, and you're like, you kind of got to dial up that focus a little more. I ended up walking him, which kind of sucks, but what are you gonna do? But it is cool to face like guys that you grew up watching, and like Trouts and Harpers and all those guys. So it's awesome to say like you're on the same field as them, and you deserve to be there as much as they do. So
absolutely.
Cool.
What a great interview there, Tom. Really shows if you have a dream, you have to chase it.
That's right, Lily. Doing nothing won't get you anywhere, but taking action will get you to where you want to go.
Now over to Manno. You got 60 seconds to talk about either football or the Mets or the Manno curse. It's one of them.
I'm Matt Manno, back with the fastest minute in sports. Let's start the clock. The NFL playoffs are in full swing, and you'd be crazy to say that it hasn't been simply amazing so far. Or you're just a Bills fan. Or both, I don't judge. This past weekend was the divisional round, which I believe was the best weekend in football, or at least that I've seen live, or tried to. We started in Nashville, where the number 1 seed Titans took on the 4 seed Bengals. This game was decided by this pick by Logan Wilson, which happened at the exact time I was running a 4x4. I missed the Manno curse hitting my Super Bowl pick. Shocker. Then later that night, the one play I leave the room, I missed a punt block that led the 49ers to a win over the Packers. The next day, I missed back-to-back fumbles in the Rams vs. Buccaneers game because of an SAT class. But I did catch Cooper Kupp simply burning the Bucs defense on quite possibly the worst defensive play call I've ever seen. Cover 0, really? That night was then capped off by the Chiefs, defeating the Bills in overtime. Sorry, Bills fans, if you want to complain about the overtime rules, maybe play some defense first. That's all from me. I'm Matt Manno, and back to Tom and Lily in the studio.
Thanks, Manno. Before we wrap up the show, Tom, what teams do you have in Super Bowl 56?
Lily, I got the Chiefs and Rams. How about you? You watch football or nah?
I do not watch football, and I didn't even know what teams were in it. So
You got 4 teams, Lily. You got the Rams, Chiefs, you got the 49ers, and then you got the Bengals. Pick 2.
The Bengals sound kind of cool.
And then pick the 49ers or Rams. You can't pick the Chiefs because the Bengals are going to beat the Chiefs, in your opinion.
Well, I want to pick the 49ers.
All right, so Bengals, 49ers for Lily, and then I got the Chiefs and Rams.
Okay. So that'll just wrap up Season 5, Episode 4 of Sports Talk. So I'm Lily Efes.
And I'm Tom Morrow. We will be back next month with new and exclusive sports news.